So we see in this clip that Jo doesn't actually even go to see Aunt March. Her pride won't let her. She doesn't want to have to ask Aunt March for money, so she decides to cut off her hair and sell it for $25. And I know as a girl, it would be really hard to cut off my hair, but I could do it and sacrifice for somebody that I loved, just like Jo is happy to sacrifice her hair, even though Amy calls it her one beauty, in order to help Marmee get to go on a train to see her father. But Jo opens up later on in the story and talks about her struggle with pride and anger. She's asked Marmee, she's like, I don't know why I get so mad and I can't just humble myself and do things. And Marmee is vulnerable and says she has the same struggle, but she tackles it one day at a time. And that's the way we have to tackle a lot of the things we struggle with, just one day at a time. And while we see Jo's sacrifice of her hair as really something admirable, and it's this sweet emotional moment that we get, and it's a big surprise, especially when this book was originally written for a girl to cut off her hair and look boyish with her hair would have been outrageous. But we see it and we wonder, though, what would have happened if she'd gone to Aunt March. Aunt March is the brother. Her brother is their father. So we think maybe she would have had sympathy. But Jo chooses, because of her past interaction, to not even try. And it makes me think, how many times do we not even try with people because we've tried once or we've asked them for something once and they've let us down? God gives us so many tries. God gives us try upon try upon try upon try to get things right. Recently I talked about Jonah and how he's called to go to Nineveh, and God over and over again is like, I'm going to give you another chance. I'm going to give you another chance. And Jonah keeps failing. But we are called to give people multiple chances, even when we suspect that they're not going to follow through or they're going to disappoint us. We're still asked to be there for that person and to still ask and to still be vulnerable. And the other thing we learned from this clip is that it's okay to be vulnerable and ask for help. I know that's a personal struggle for me. I don't want to be vulnerable. I don't want to have to ask for help. But sometimes I need to, and sometimes it's better for me to humble myself and ask for help than it is for me to try to do it on my own. So that's something I think we all can remember sometimes, is that you have brothers and sisters in this room with you right now who want to help you when you're in trouble, who, when you are up a creek without a paddle, there are people who are going to come bring you a paddle. And somebody keeps bumping the stand, so I'm sorry that the camera work is bumpy, but it is Roman's fault. Technical difficulties per a puppy. So this next clip that we're going to look at, though, focuses on Meg. So we just saw Jo struggle with anger and pride, and that's not really something that Meg struggles with. Meg struggles with vanity and wanting to keep up with the Joneses. So when Meg, in a previous scene, is out with a friend shopping, she buys fabric that she knows she can't afford at the insistence of her friend, who insists that her husband won't care if she buys the fabric. But when she gets home and they discuss the fabric, her husband doesn't react well. He doesn't act rudely, but he's like, sweetie, you know we can't afford this. And at which point she gets defensive and says that she just wants to have nice things like her friends, and she just doesn't think it's fair. So the conversation leaves her husband feeling unloved and unwanted and unworthy of her. And he goes to bed that night saying that he's sorry that she married a man who can't provide her with all the things that she needs. And Meg that evening is left to cry by herself down at the kitchen table while her husband goes up to bed. And so later that next day, Meg goes to visit Marmee's house because Beth has fallen very sick and needs her sister's help taking care of Beth, when her husband, Meg's husband, John, shows up. And Meg's not really sure what this conversation is going to hold based on how the last one went, but she goes outside to talk to him anyway about the fabric and the dress and just their relationship.